I was actually the youngest quant researcher at a pretty big hedge fund today, and so had started my career in finance, but had seen a lot of different areas, very thesis-driven to just pure numbers and numbers crunching.
They said she was just another teenager with a side hustle. They said her little newsletter would vanish into the noise. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because what Daniela Pearson built wasn't just a business, it was a gold mine. A gold mine that would transform her from a 19-year-old college student struggling with ADHD and depression into a woman plastered across Forbes covers with whispers of a $200 million fortune. But here's the twist. When you start peeling back the layers, the numbers don't always add up. Is Daniela Pearson really worth $200 million? Or is this another story of media hype, valuation games, and money that exists only on paper? This isn't just a profile of a teenpreneur. It's a financial mystery. And tonight, we're going to unravel every dollar of it. The billionaire you've never heard of. Why is it that we know the names Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Jeff Bezos, but not Lucy Guo? She has more money than most A-list celebrities, yet she could walk past you on the street and you wouldn't even recognize her. Lucy Guo is worth over $1 billion, but her path wasn't lined with fame, Hollywood lights, or magazine covers. It was built in silence, with code, risk, and a knack for making money appear where no one thought it could. And here's the twist. She didn't just make her money once. She made it, lost it, and then made it back even bigger. Childhood. A hunger for more. Lucy Guo was born in 1994 in a Chinese-American family in the Bay Area. Unlike many billionaires, she wasn't handed generational wealth. Her family wasn't rich, but Lucy had something more powerful: obsession. From the time she was a child, she had a hunger for building, creating, and winning. In high school, while her friends were busy with dances and parties, Lucy was coding. She was designing apps, building websites, and entering competitions. And by the time she got to Carnegie Mellon University, one thing was clear. Lucy didn't want to just study technology. She wanted to own it. The breakthrough. Becoming a moneymaker. Here's the first real hook of her story. Lucy wasn't just smart. She was strategic. At Carnegie Mellon, she began building products that went viral. Apps that caught attention. Side projects that made money on the internet while she was still in her dorm room. One of her early moves, selling side hustles for quick cash, from design templates to growth hacking tools. It wasn't billionaire money, but it was a taste of making money on her own terms. And once Lucy got that taste, she refused to settle for a paycheck. Scale AI, the billion-dollar jackpot. In 2016, Lucy Guo teamed up with a young entrepreneur named Alexander Wang. Together, they co-founded a company that would change their lives forever: Scale AI. Now listen carefully, because this is where the money starts flooding in. Scale AI was built to solve one of the most expensive problems in the tech world: data labeling for artificial intelligence. AI systems need mountains of data to learn. But that data needs to be organized, tagged, and labeled correctly. Companies like Tesla, Google, and Uber were willing to pay millions for this service. Lucy and Alexander spotted the gap. They built a platform that used workers from around the world, paired with their own tools, to label data for the biggest AI companies. And it worked. In less than 3 years, Scale AI was valued at over $7 billion. Investors poured in cash. Tech giants signed up as clients. And Lucy Guo, once a college dropout, suddenly found herself holding shares worth hundreds of millions. But here's the secret most people don't know. Lucy didn't stay. She cashed out. She left Scale AI and sold a large portion of her stake, walking away with a massive fortune before the company even reached its peak. That decision alone is why Lucy Guo is a billionaire today. The billionaire lifestyle without the spotlight. Now here's where Lucy's story gets strange. Most billionaires want the world to know their name. Lucy didn't. While other entrepreneurs chased headlines, Lucy moved in silence. But her money spoke louder than any press release. She bought luxury properties in Miami and San Francisco. She drove Lamborghinis and showed up at elite parties. She invested in crypto, startups, and fintech long before they went mainstream. Her money wasn't just sitting in a bank account. Lucy was multiplying it. She wasn't just rich, she was building a kingdom, brick by brick, dollar by dollar, while the world had no idea who she was. Beyond scale, the rise of passes. Most people would stop after becoming a multi-millionaire at 25, but Lucy wasn't most people. After leaving Scale AI, she launched Back in Capital, her own venture capital fund, investing in the next generation of startups. But her real masterpiece was a company called Passes. Passes is a platform that lets creators monetize their audience directly, bypassing big tech platforms that take massive cuts. It's like Patreon, but more exclusive, more profitable, and more tailored to influencers. With the rise of OnLifeins, Patreon, and TikTok creators, Passes tapped into a market worth tens of billions. And Lucy wasn't just another player in this space. She was running the game. Passes attracted top-tier investors. Valuations skyrocketed. And once again, Lucy was sitting on hundreds of millions in equity. The money numbers. Let's pause for a moment and talk about the money. By age 25, Lucy's net worth was already over $100 million. By age 28, thanks to her Scale AI exit and new ventures, she crossed into the billionaire club. Today, estimates put her fortune at $1 to $1.5 billion. To put that in perspective, that's more than Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber's fortunes combined. That's enough to buy 5 private islands in the Caribbean, or the entire Miami skyline of luxury condos. And here's the kicker. Lucy made this money without fame, without an inheritance, and without being tied to a man's fortune. She is the youngest self-made female billionaire in America, and barely anyone knows her name. Why you've never heard of Lucy Guo? So why is Lucy Guo invisible in the billionaire conversation? Because she designed it that way. Lucy isn't interested in being the next Elon Musk. She doesn't want tabloids chasing her. Instead, she moves quietly, investing, building, and growing her empire. And while other billionaires face lawsuits, scandals, and public battles, Lucy remains untouchable, hidden in plain sight. Hook. It's almost like she hacked the system, not just in tech, but in life. The dark side of silence. But with silence comes mystery. Some critics argue Lucy avoids the spotlight because her companies, especially Scale AI, relied on cheap global labor. Others whisper about her aggressive investment style, calling her ruthless. But here's the truth. In the world of billionaires, ruthlessness is the rule, not the exception. Lucy Guo just learned it early. What's next for Lucy Guo? Lucy isn't slowing down. She's pouring millions into Passes, expanding Back in Capital, and making big bets on AI, crypto, and creator economies. And here's the wildest part. She's only 31. Hook. If she could make $1 billion before 30, how much will she have by 40? $5 billion? 10? Maybe more? Why haven't you heard of her? So why is Lucy Guo still relatively unknown despite her billionaire status? First, she's not in entertainment, so she doesn't get the mainstream coverage that singers, actors, or athletes do. Second, she left Scale AI early, so her name isn't as tightly linked to the company's massive success. And third, she tends to avoid media spotlights, preferring to let her work and investments speak for themselves. But make no mistake, her influence in tech, finance, and the creator economy is growing every day. And as AI, creator platforms, and startups continue to dominate headlines, Lucy Guo's name will only become harder to ignore. So tell me, if you were in Lucy's shoes, would you push yourself through those 90-hour weeks to chase billionaire dreams, or would you take a slower path to success? If you enjoyed this video on Lucy Guo's meteoric rise and financial playbook, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Net Worth Revealed. We bring you the stories behind the biggest paychecks, the smartest moves, and the careers that are shaping entertainment. And in Lucy's case, tech, right now.